Given that I had taken more of a lead in filming, I knew exactly what footage we have and what footage we could utilise in order to ensure that our trailer conformed best to the codes and conventions of the genre. I felt that some of the footage I had gathered and some of the sounds that I had been working on to record were not included efficiently within our trailer, so therefore I went on to editing some sounds within our trailer that would help to encode a more tense and eerie atmosphere, thus meaning that our trailer conformed to the conventions of the thriller genre in an effective manner. As previously mentioned, when I had the camera at home, I had lots of opportunities to film. Therefore, sometimes I was not just interested in filming footage, but filming sounds. I took a particular interest in filming and creating sounds that were going to make my audience feel tense and on edge. However, some of these sounds had not been used within our trailer, and therefore I took on the role of editing these sounds within our trailer in order to create a tense and eerie atmosphere. This therefore demonstrates how I was able to edit our trailer and use the sounds that I had recorded in isolation in order to add a more tense and unsettling atmosphere to our trailer, thus enhancing the quality of our trailer and the manner in which it conforms to genre conventions. Given that some of the footage we filmed did not have diegetic sound, I was really interested in recording this diegetic sound in isolation and then adding it on to the footage that we had filmed in order to create a tense and unsettling atmosphere. One shot where I did not film diegetic sound when filming the footage was of the shot where the door handle was opening. Therefore, I went on afterwards to film some footage and sound recording of a creaky door opening. This therefore allowed me to add the two layers of sound together, thus meaning that when the footage was played back, it appeared as though the sound was from the door creaking open. This therefore demonstrates how I was able to add diegetic sound afterwards in editing when I'd filmed it separately in order to create sound effects for my trailer. This also ensured that I had created a tense and eerie atmosphere, given that the sound effect that I had recorded was very conventional and eerie. Here you can see the video of how I edited the sound within the trailer and how the sound of the door opening is very effective in contributing towards creating a tense atmosphere. As you can hear from the diegetic sound of the door handle opening and the door swinging opening, that it successfully creates a tense and eerie atmosphere which was conventional to our genre. This was a shot which I edited in after we'd done a majority of our editing, and one which I edited in order to conform to the conventions of the genre in a more successful manner. Given that I had filmed the shot and the diegetic sound in two separate shots, it required more steps with editing. However, it also meant that I was able to edit the shot in a more effective manner, given that the sound clip of the audio from the door opening was separate to the visual footage, allowing me to edit and manipulate the footage and the sound with more control. Therefore, in this presentation below, I will include screenshots of how I have edited this footage and sound within my trailer in order to create a conventionally tense and unsettling atmosphere. I think it is possible to say that the way in which I have edited this sound and footage within my trailer helps to build the trailer to the climax and therefore make the audience feel conventionally tense and on edge. Before I go on to making a presentation which explains the different steps I went through in order to create this sound and edit this footage onto my trailer, I want to show you the progression from filming the footage, the audio sound separately, and the editing, in order to show you how much I have edited and progressed this product in order to ensure that the product is more conventional to the thriller genre. When looking at the footage in its initial stage and looking at the footage in the final cut of our trailer, you are able to see how I successfully edited the footage in order to ensure that it was more conventional and made the audience feel more tense and on edge. This is the visual footage in its original state. I have not done anything in order to edit this footage, given I wanted to show you what the sound quality and the visual of the footage was like in its natural state. As you can see from the initial visual footage that there was no diegetic sound within the footage. Therefore, although the visual for the footage was eerie in the way that it was filmed in a low-key lighting setup, I needed to make sure that I edited the footage so that it had more of an impact and conformed to the conventions of the thriller genre in a more suitable manner. Therefore, this is what I did. I wanted to use this door given that it looked kind of unsettling and eerie through the way in which the handle was rather old-fashioned. The handle made the audience feel slightly tense and on edge, given that the door looked slightly creepy and unsettling. Furthermore, the door was white, meaning that although it was low-key lighting setup, you could still see and make out that it was a door. Therefore, I really wanted to use this door within the visual footage, given that it suited the genre of my film. Therefore, I needed to be creative when it came to creating a creaky sound for the door, given that this door did not naturally creak, and therefore I needed to be inventive about how I was going to edit the film so that the door creaked in a conventionally unsettling manner. After watching a video on sound production within my media class, I was aware of the fact that you did not need the sound to be filmed within the footage, but could add diegetic sound that seemed realistic in afterwards in the later stages of your editing. Therefore, this is what I endeavoured to do, and this is what I had a strong focus on, being the lead filmer within our work, given that I was able to also use the camera in order to record sounds and not only footage. This therefore meant that I was able to record different sounds that could be added within our trailer in the editing stages in order to create diegetic sound that was enhanced by the editing that we did. This therefore meant that with this shot I really tried to think about different ways in which I could create the sound in order to edit with the shot afterwards, and this is what I did. Obviously, trying to get the right sounds takes a lot of attempts, and given that you are filming the sound in isolation to the visual footage, it is hard to know whether the sound that you have recorded fits with what the visual footage was achieving. However, it did help given that I'd filmed both the visual footage and the sound, meaning that I at least was aware of what the visual footage looked like. The first attempt is the sound of me opening the door handle really quickly and releasing it with a quick and aggressive manner. The way in which I released it with a quick and aggressive manner meant that the sound from the door handle opening was sharp and rather blunt. Although this did help to create a conventionally tense and unsettling atmosphere, it was not that appropriate to the action within the narrative and the footage that I had captured, given that the door handle did not open abruptly in this footage. I also felt that it was not really suitable, given that you wouldn't be able to easily identify that it was the door handle opening, given that the sound was not that distinctive. Therefore, although this was an effective attempt to create and gather sound that I would be able to edit within the image, I do not think this was perfect, and therefore I carried on trying to produce sounds that would effectively go with the image and be edited in order to create a tense and unsettling atmosphere. Learning that the quick and sudden sound of the door handle opening quickly did not go coherently with the footage that I had filmed, I therefore went to take a more different approach to filming the sound. I wanted to gather sound that demonstrated the door slowly opening and therefore was a consistent and prolonged sound. Therefore, I gathered different sounds in order to try and do this so that I had lots of choice as to which sound I was going to use that was going to allow me to edit and create the most conventional and unsettling product. As you can hear from the second sound that I recorded, that I was much more successful when it came to creating a consistent sound that would therefore mirror the door opening. However, it's possible to say that this sound was not reflective of a door opening and therefore would not be easily recognized by audiences. I filmed this sound audio by turning on the bathroom fan, given that it made a loud and unsettling sound. Therefore, although the sound was unsettling and helped to create a tense atmosphere, it was not suitable for the action going on within the visual footage. Therefore, although that I had made progression in the fact that the sound was more suitable in terms of matching the action of the door handle opening, it was not suitable in terms of being realistic, which was one of the main key aims within my trailer. Therefore, I carried on and tried to record more footage in order to find some footage and sound that was going to match and coherently express the action of the door swinging in an eerie, unsettling manner. In order to record Tempt 3, I recorded the sound created when opening the door to my car. Although this sound was much more realistic and therefore helped to create continuity between the sound being played and the action of the visual, I felt it was still too short and therefore did not mirror or symbolize the door swinging or being swung open, but instead being opened purposefully. Therefore, although this was an improvement, given that the sound was more naturalistic and therefore helped to conform to the naturalistic, minimalistic, and sophisticated aesthetic I was trying to achieve, I did not yet think it was completely right, given that it did not help to create a tense and eerie atmosphere, and the sound did not match perfectly to the action. Therefore, I carried on and tried to record lots of different sounds in order to give me more option of finding the right sound that was going to match the action of the visual that I have recorded. This whole process of adding and recording different layers of sound to my work was part of the editing stage and thus helped to ensure that the quality of our trailer was really good, given that I had gone through different stages of recording different levels of sound using different objects in order to find the right sound that was going to create and encode the right atmosphere for our trailer. Therefore, although this recording of sound was laborious and took time, it was worth it in the end, given that I was able to record sound that successfully helped to encode an unsettling atmosphere and inform the audience of the genre film we were promoting. In order to record this sound Tempt 4, I recorded the sound created when opening the garage outside. Now this sound was the closest to what I wanted to achieve so far, given that the sound was mirroring the long duration of a door swinging open and therefore was going to match the action that I had recorded within the shot. Therefore, this sound was the best attempt that I had recorded so far. The way in which the high-pitched squeak, however, was at the start of the sound made it hard to identify that the sound was of a door handle opening until this end of the sound when the pitch decreased. Therefore, although I was really happy with the progression I'd made and the way in which the sound was much more suitable for the action, I still felt that it could be more identifiable for the consumer and thus more realistic if the sound was less high-pitched at the start of the audio that I'd recorded. And therefore I went back and re-recorded the sound of the door handle of the garage door opening and then decreased the amplitude of the sound within iMovie in order to ensure that the sound was more suitable for my action. Given that I liked the way in which the sound from the garage door opened created a long duration of sound that was going to be appropriate for the door swinging open, I decided that the garage door opening was going to be the best way to record the sound, and this is how I went about filming the sound. I'd worked out that the reason why the sound was high-pitched when I first recorded the sound was given that I'd opened the garage door in a quick manner, and therefore the forceful and quick manner in which I'd opened the garage door made the sound high-pitched and therefore not as realistic as I would have hoped. Therefore, when re-recording this footage, as you can hear from Tempt 5, I opened the garage door in a much more controlled and slow-paced way. This meant that the sound was more pronounced and exaggerated, thus meaning that it was also more appropriate for our genre, given that the creak from the door helped to create a tense and unsettling atmosphere which was needed within our genre. Therefore, it is possible to say that although it took me a couple of attempts in order to find the right sound, I now had the sounds and different visual that I needed in order to edit my trailer and put the combination of the two things together in order to ensure that the way in which I edited the trailer was really effective and conventional to the formats, codes and conventions within the thriller genre. In the presentation below I have included a step-by-step guide as to how I edited the sound and visual within our trailer in order to make sure that they were both really effective and conform to the conventions of the thriller genre in a successful manner. Here is our final outcome, which I think was really effective in the way I edited the sound. and the footage to create a tense and eerie atmosphere.